everybody. Welcome to Pro World Live. I'm Danielle from Pro World.
I'm Kate.
Kate's behind the camera today. And we are here explaining everything you need to know about your heat press, getting started, getting set up, tips and tricks that we found have been helpful. And if you're watching and you're tuning in, definitely include some tips that, if you just started, if you're kind of experienced and you just, if you wanted to give advice to somebody that just started, what would be your tip for them? But like always, as you're adding in those questions, let us know where you're tuning in from so Kate can give you a shout out, and then we can get started once everyone sort of rolls in a little bit longer.
All right. We got Diane from Southern Cali.
Hello. Okay. All right. That's it. I only have one person tuning in. Come on. Where else are you coming in from? We want to know. All right. That's okay.
Okay.
Good?
Yes.
If you want to swap it, that's fine too. All right, we'll keep going. We'll see what happens. All right. Do we have a couple more people?
Mommy Beth 70 from West Virginia. Oh, there's a lot of people. Finally caught up from West Virginia. We got Jane, Andrea, Danielle, Auntie M, Debbie, Charnette,
wow.
Marla.
Hello, hi, everybody. So let's do comments in the feed just so I know. Let's do a 1 if you're an experienced heat presser, and do a 2 if you just got a heat press recently and you're not sure what to do. So 1 if you're experienced, 2 if you're a novice or you're a beginner. And then that way we can kind of gauge and see, maybe our experienced people can throw out some tips for you as well as our tips that we're going to offer as today. All right, so as they're coming in, we're gonna keep going, and then Kate, you let me know how many 1s and how many 2s, and we can process that through.
All right.
So I am working with our TransPro Plus heat press today. This is our 16 by 20. It has a couple great features. We've done a video on it previously, but that's the heat press that I'm using, and we're going to be kind of going through a few things to sort of get you up and running. So you can use these tips for any heat press that you might have, not just, a TransPro Plus heat press. Okay, before I get started, what you got for me?
We got a bunch of 1s and a few 2s.
All right, so 1s were experienced, if I remember.
Well, someone, as a reminder, said 1 but can always learn more.
All
so
right,
there we go.
All right, so once you set your heat press up and you have it on your counter and you've plugged it in, set your time up, or set your temperature, the one thing you really, really want to have handy is a temperature gun. This is an infrared sensor. It references what is on your heat plan to make sure that what you're putting it at or setting it at is what your heat press is reading. This is really important. It's this tiny little tool, but it will save you a lot of time. So I don't currently have my heat press on, but what you would do, you have your temperature all set, you take your temperature gun and you point it. You're going to be sort of kind of close to your heat press, and I test 5 spots. You're going to point and click at the very middle, and then you're going to be kind of like 3 inches from either side. Point and click, and do the same thing on all your corners. This will let you know if I'm currently set at 300, if my platen is also reading 300. If it's not, modify your temperature. That is going to save you a lot of time, and that way if you're 5 degrees off, bump it up 5 degrees. Make it so that what you want to press your items at, that you're accurate. Go ahead.
How would that work with a swing away?
The swing press would come this way, and then you'd be able to kind of monitor it this way. So you have I don't think we have a swing in here as I'm looking around. There's not one. But if your swing away press, come this way with it, and then you'll be able to kind of get underneath and sort of test that area as well. All right. Any other questions?
We're good right
We're
now.
good. Okay. Setting up your t-shirt on your platen. Ideal thing. Get that collar off your platen. You never want it on there. It's only going to cause issues. What happens is when you have your collar on here and you go and press your shirt, the very first thing that hits your heat press is going to be that collar. Get it off the platen because you want a nice, smooth, even pressing area. It has to be smooth. That's the only way that transfers and vinyl are going to press accurate. Now, with that being said, if you're using a smaller shirt and you can't get the collar and the large seams off your platen, and you don't have the TransPro Plus where you can swap it out for an interchangeable platen, you can go ahead and get a pressing pillow. And what that does, when you go and place it down, this will allow, when the heat press closes, it will push the collar into the pillow and again give you that nice, smooth, even pressing surface. So you won't have any issues when you go to press your transfer or your vinyl because the pillow has absorbed all those thick areas. You can also place it so that your collar is completely off the pillow and position it where you need it to be as well. So you can use your pillow in both ways to let it push in or lay off. All right, any questions? Now, till I go to the next spot.
Going back to the heat, what if you do have different temperature readings?
Then you want to go for the range. So if you are, let's say, 5 degrees less around your edges, then go and let me step back. It depends on the transfer that you're printing. So if I'm printing a design that is mainly centered or central on your heat press, so it's right around here, and this area of my press is reading accurately, then you're fine. If you know your design is going to extend to your corners of your platen and you're reading a 5 degree lightness in here, go ahead and bump up your degrees 5 degrees so you can get your temperature settings accurate on your corners. So increase if your outsides are lower. But always make sure that you're about 3 inches in. All right.
Okay, good, thanks.
Pre-pressing. I tend to always skip this step, but it's really important and something that shouldn't be skipped. What happens is you pre-press your garment to make sure and see if there's moisture in your shirt. You don't want moisture in it, so you pre-press it to get the moisture out. When you close and lock your press, I don't have my press on right now, so it won't lock for me, but you release it. If you see steam, that's moisture. You want to press until you don't see steam. That means all the moisture is out of your shirt. Now, if I have a stack of 20 shirts and I pre-press one and there's moisture, I'm going to pre-press all of them to get all my moisture out. If I press my one and there's no moisture and there's no steam, then you're good and you don't have to pre-press if you don't want to. So you can kind of cut that step out as long as you know there's no moisture. Okay. Did I miss anything?
Not yet for that. Next is pressure.
Ah, thank you.
Okay.
That's what I got you, Kate. Setting your pressure. I'm going to actually turn the press on so that way I can get some pressure here. Okay, we're going to flip this over to a manual because, not everybody has a semi-auto. So we'll switch it over to manual. Setting your pressure. So important. Most stock transfers give you a pressure setting of medium to heavy. What does that mean, right? Who knows? That's just a range. But whenever I do pressure, I like to set it so I can close it comfortably with 2 hands and have some resistance when I lock it down. So I'm going to show you a light pressure first so you can see the difference. Okay. Ready? And we close. That was really light. You didn't hear anything. There's no click. There's no clink. Nothing. Way too light. That won't press a thing. So now let's go more. To the right is going to increase your pressure for you. All right, now I'm going to close and lock. Still really light. Not going to do much for you either. Doesn't even want to open. If I can close it with one hand and be doing other things, that's too light of a pressure. All right, so now let's increase it more. All right, that's about medium pressure. I could do it with one hand if I wanted to strain. So I'll do that again. So I can close it with one and get that oomph down into it, and that'll close it. And if I did it with two hands, it would be easier. Now, let's increase it some more. This is going to be your heavy setting. You're going to close it comfortably with two hands and have some resistance when you lock it. And you could probably hear that difference of all those settings because it clanks differently. It's the worst term, but since I have it on manual, I have to open up my own. All right. Now, if you're not sure, go ahead and put your pressure all the way until you can't close it. Then back 2 full turns. 1, 2. Now close. That's going to be that heavy pressure that you need. So always a good guide for that, to kind of do it by feeling. This, thankfully, this heat press gives you a pressure readout, but if you don't have one that does, that's going to be your guide. Go all the way until you can't close it, and then back out 2 full turns. All right. Any questions?
No, but I have found if I can't get my pressure heavy enough, sometimes I add the pressing pillow to help increase that thickness.
Kate is absolutely right. So what you would do, geez, that made a noise. What you would do is, if you find that no matter what you set your pressure at, it just doesn't seem like it's heavy enough to print certain things, you can use a pressing pillow to help, or even a perfect pad, which, do I have one? I don't see one under here. Or even a mouse pad. Either one of those are fine. A perfect pad is basically just this same material, but cut in smaller sizes. Perfect pads are great to use for pressing custom transfers or Supacolor transfers. That's what you want to use a perfect pad for. Pressing pillows, you can do it for sublimation and stock transfers, so you can utilize that for these. What you would do is go ahead and get your item set up, and then you're going to test your pressure. You don't want too heavy of a pressure because you don't want to squish your pillow, but you want it to be enough so that it can still close comfortably with the 2 hands. But the pillow definitely does help you out. So that I can't close, so we're going to keep backing it off. And you're basically tricking your heat press to give you more pressure. And that one feels good. But you'll be able to feel the resistance when you lock it. And then your pillow will squish back up for you. All right. Any other questions?
A reminder as to which heat press we're using.
We are using the TransPro Plus heat press. This one's a 16 by 20. And just a couple of features on this. It has that pull-out drawer, which is super nice. It has your interchangeable buttons, where you can swap out to a smaller one. Never mind that. There we go. It can be switched from a semi-auto to a manual just by moving this. I don't know, you can't really see it from that angle, but it's right here, just by rotating. And it also has digital time and temperature readout and a pressure readout. So basically, like, all the things that you could want in a heat press, all your wish lists are right here for you. And it's currently out of stock, so don't look. But it should be back in stock very shortly.
I believe it's $10.99.
Yes, $10.99.
Okay. How do the numbers 1 to 10? The heat press goes 1 to 9, 1 to 10, and how do they relate to PSI?
So it doesn't have a PSI connection to it, but you have a pressure readout from 1 up to 9. 9 is going to be your heaviest pressure, and then obviously going down will be your less pressure. 9 and 8 is where you want to be for Supacolor. 8 and 7 is where you want to be for stock transfers and custom transfers, like our screen print transfers. And then your sublimation items, you can be anywhere from that 6 to 7 range. So that's kind of maybe even like 5, depending on your item. But those are kind of like the ranges for your pressure, but it doesn't have that direct connection with PSI.
All right.
All right. Any other questions?
We're-
Any pros out there that have some suggestions for our beginners?
Oh, I don't see anything yet, but certainly let us know.
All right. Well, thank you all very much for watching, and I think we're good. There's no more comments. All right.
it.
Well, thank you all so much for watching, and we will see you here in 2 weeks. Bye, everybody.